Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to share how I study languages with you. To briefly introduce myself, I am a language student on the road to becoming a polyglot. You can see my progress in my Polyglot Diaries study vlog series, which has currently started on a second season, a rebirth of sorts. So far I've studied Mandarin, Japanese, Korean, French, Italian, Russian, German, and Arabic, but I would like to get more conversational in most of them. My main target language is Mandarin, since I passed the HSK 4 in 2021, and now I am currently preparing to take the HSK 5 in December. And being from Puerto Rico, I am an English and Spanish native speaker. If you're here, chances are you are eager to start learning a new language, or you've already started on your journey, but need some guidance. Well, you're in the right place. But before we dive in, remember, there is no one-size-fits-all approach to learning anything. It's all about finding what works best for you and staying consistent. In this video, I will walk you through what's been effective for me personally. So let's jump right in. To set yourself up for success, it's crucial to make a solid plan. You probably already have a language in mind and reasons or a goal of why you want to learn it. It could be a goal like going to Japan and wanting to speak Japanese there, or something as simple as understanding a K-drama without subtitles. Whatever your reason is, it will be important to you. It's good to write these reasons down to remind yourself, for if you ever feel like quitting or on days when things get a little hard, these will motivate you to keep going. To make a plan, you need tools to actually plan out. If you're using a textbook, website, YouTube channel, or even a novel you want to read, think about what you want to achieve and what you need to do it. For example, if your goal is to pass HSK 5, then you should prepare accordingly by following the lessons in the course. Or if you want to complete levels 1 to 3 in the Talk to Me in Korean website, then you need to know how you're going to get there. Resources can range language to language, but it's good to keep main resources that will help you achieve your final goal. What materials will you use to study your target language? Now is the time to decide so you can move forward. Instead of aiming for fluency right away, break down your objectives into achievable checkpoints. For instance, targeting a specific proficiency level like A2 in Korean by the end of the summer. How much time are you able to study your language in a week? Taking a look at your textbook's index comes in very handy. You can find how many pages a lesson has and what things you will be learning. What I do is write down a little syllabus for myself on a Notion template, a cute planner, or a simple piece of paper, an approximate schedule of what I should study each day to reach my goal. I like to add checkboxes next to each topic and or subtopic so I can cross out once I study them. After you have an idea of the amount of lessons you can do per week, it's important to see which days a week you have time to study and what you can dedicate time to. Because studying a language has different areas you need to reinforce and put into practice. What I do is divide the tasks per week. One day I can work on my vocabulary, and another day I can learn grammar structures and so on. Like what I'm doing here, for example. On Mondays I can study vocabulary, and on Wednesdays I can practice writing kanji. This is an overview and example of how I set up my multi-language studies in a week. I am already past this step in my current target languages, but I want to mention this briefly as I consider this is the most important step on studying any new language. Getting used to the phonetic system and or new alphabet can be extremely beneficial for you in the beginning stages and the long run of your journey. Listening to how it sounds like and following along to pronunciation videos on YouTube or from your textbook CD. It might take a couple weeks or maybe days to get used to this new system, depending on how intensely you choose to study. But the important part is that if you want to get hands-on with a language, learning its phonetic and alphabetic system, maybe 20 minutes a day before you start your daily language routine can make a big positive influence in how you understand a language and how the language speakers understand you. As I mentioned before, every language has different areas that need to be reinforced. These are vocabulary, grammar, reading, writing, listening, and of course, there should always be practice time involved. For each of these areas, I have a general routine of how to guide my study sessions. This may vary per language, but I base it all on my routine. Every day, no matter what area I am working on, I try to start my study routine with going over my Anki set and completing it with my language diary, which I will go into later. Obviously, sometimes life happens and some days will be missed, but the idea here is that if you can't study one day, not to give up because you didn't study the day before. It's to try your best to keep a discipline. For vocabulary, I start with my textbook and read over the vocab word list of the lesson I am studying that week, 2 or 3 times to get a first good look and start to get used to them. When I'm done, I grab my laptop and add the new vocab words to my Anki, and after that, I use the Anki list to write down the new vocab words on my pad, so I can add example sentences I see throughout the lesson at a later time. Learning grammar is super important. It elevates your vocabulary usage and what kind of sentences and expressions you're able to make. I usually write down 1 example sentence per grammar structure, but for example, if it has other forms of being written, I will write 1 example for that different way of writing it, like a negative structure or adding a note on other structures I've learned before that are similar in meaning. Most textbooks come with a reading excerpt for each lesson, where you can read and practice the new vocabulary you learned. After reading the text a couple of times, I take my small Kokuyo campus notebook and rewrite that text with a translation on the bottom. I use this notebook as a guide later if I forget what something means or just need practice on how to translate something. Finally, I will take a smart ring binder notebook from Kokuyo as well and write down the reading excerpt with no translations and no highlighting, just to keep as an archive to myself and practice reading without aids every once in a while. Most textbooks will come with a CD, or you can even find the textbook audios uploaded to YouTube, and after reading the excerpt, you can listen to it, pause, and try to mimic the way they are saying it, be it the intonation or speed. Each of these areas could be practiced in separate days or in the same one. It just depends on the amount of time you have daily to study your target languages. 2 days a week, I always take up for practicing the skills I've learned, be it the practice questions included in the books or practicing writing sentences on my own. By practicing, you're allowing yourself to put what you've learned to the test and see where you need improvement later. In terms of the sentences I write on my own, I use ChatGPT to correct my mistakes, since I sometimes don't have a language buddy to rely on if I am self-studying at home. Language Reactor is a Chrome extension that can let you see media for learning languages. You can click on a word to see its definition and also get examples of ways to use it. It's very useful for immersing yourself in the language and starting to understand the language you're studying in a different context. I use a Hobonichi A6 to follow simple prompts in my 3 main target languages. I answer the questions in Chinese, Japanese, and Korean daily to practice my ability to express myself in a variety of topics. There are so many available things for you to read, watch, and listen to online. You can find a favorite artist in your target language, movies that you're very used to watch without any subtitles, or if subtitles, you can use them in your target language. This is a way to see what you understand and get used to being surrounded by it from the comfort of your home. Disney Plus has a variety of options as they have their movies in many different languages. There are podcasts that you can listen to, ones that are specifically made for learning a language, but you can also find your favorite topics and listen to them to get more vocabulary on the things you're actually interested in. Even finding books in other languages. I've bought the first Harry Potter book in Chinese, Korean, Italian, and French to practice my reading skills in a topic I absolutely love. I can also get some nice Wizarding World vocabulary that for me as a human is useful, so I can share my love for the things that I truly love with somebody that speaks a different language. This one is currently one I am using as my university's language department came up with a pen pal activity to write to other students that are also learning the same target language as you anonymously. I find this really fun since I can actually have a cool conversation with a stranger over letters in my target language. The most important part about learning a language or doing anything in life is discipline. Think of it as working out. Your muscles can't get toned if you don't consistently work out. Languages are the same. If you don't consistently practice them, you will not be able to keep a conversation or understand anything in the long run. However, you must keep in mind that life sometimes gets in the way of your plans, but that shouldn't stop you from passive studies like listening to podcasts or reading books. Maybe you'd like to study 7 days a week, but realistically you can only study 2, and that is perfectly fine. The key here is that even if things get tough and you don't achieve a goal by a deadline you set, you only owe that to yourself, but most of all, you owe to yourself the chance to do things you love and in the way they work for you to succeed. Please take my suggestions like a grain of sand, which I hope has helped guide you in the right direction. Just please remember to take care of yourself, practice being kind to yourself, and remind yourself of the reasons why you want to speak this language and get there. No matter the time frame, just don't give up. And if you fall, even if it takes a little time to get back up, just keep going and you will be so proud of yourself for trying. Take care, stay healthy, and keep hydrated. I will see you next week.